What is up, Intuitive Sheepdogs? What's going on? Welcome to the Intuitive Sheepdog Podcast with me, your host, Autumn Schmidt. As always, I'm very excited to be here with you. But before we get into today's show, I want to do a quick shout out to our podcast sponsor at The Badge Life on Instagram, thebadgelife.com website, or The Badge Life on Facebook. They have been really, really good to us. They've gifted a follower of the Intuitive Sheepdog on Instagram. Once we hit 5,000 followers, they are gifting a sheepdog, and they did. And that sheepdog gets to go shopping on their website and pick out any item that they want for free, and they're going to ship it to them. So it's amazing. Really, really good. Leo-owned company. My favorite part about it is that they have an entire incognito look, which is what I'm all about. And so, yeah, check them out. And they are freaking awesome. Really happy to have awesome companies supporting the Intuitive Sheepdog. So today, what I want to talk to you about, there's something that's really been on my mind. And so this is what happens with me. I'm going to just kind of give you a heads up, because I really like this show to be more of a lifestyle show. A buddy of mine, he and I had a good conversation about where the show was going, and he advised me. He's like, make it more of a lifestyle show, right? He's like, because you can only, there's a ton of stuff for just cops out there, a bunch of podcasts and stuff. Why don't you make it more of a lifestyle? Because cops have to live a lifestyle too, And it really made me think. And I'm like, yeah, you're right, absolutely. Because that's what I'd want to listen to, more of a lifestyle. I love to hear about all these different kinds of topics, and so that's really what we're gearing towards now. I think that I don't know how many episodes that we have now, but I'm going to guess we're close to 100 episodes. I'm going to figure it out, and we'll have a party on the 100th episode. But anyways, so what I want to talk about is how you you are either your own best friend or you're your biggest nightmare, and that nobody is coming to save you. And I think the reason that I want to have this conversation is because I have a lot of people reach out to me. I have since I've started the podcast. In April, it'll be 2 years of this podcast. And so, we've been doing it a year and a half. And I have a lot of people reach out to me, because I'm really big into self-help. I've been into self-help and being a coach since 2015. And so I'm really into all of that. I'm really into, being motivated to make myself better. I'm always trying to make myself better, always trying to up-level, always trying to do the things that I need to do that are going to get me to where I want to go. I do not have small ambitions. I do not have small goals and aspirations, and I understand that, and so I know that I'm going to have to, work to get to what I want, and I'm fully aware of that. And so I like to hang out with those kinds of people. Maybe that's like you. I have an idea you're pretty similar to me if you're listening to my podcast. I have a problem, though, with people who reach out to me and they're like, fix me. I am broken. Fix me. I am broken. Fix me. And I have to say this. I am not above or beyond feeling like this. I have felt like this many fucking times. Many times. The difference between me and most people, though, is I do the work. I do the work that I have to do to get to where I want to go. And I'm encouraging you to be that way. I'm encouraging you to really take a step back and reflect. And let's just see if you're the kind of person that, puts your nose to the ground and just gets the job done. Are you that kind of person? Are you taking full responsibility for yourself and your life and your actions? And if you are not, then that, my friend, is what is holding you back right there. I have to say this. we as first responders, military, police officers, we as sheepdogs, we are public servants, right? Like that's what we're doing. We're serving the public. That is a thankless job. You do not sign up for this job if you want to be paid well and loved. Unless you're a firefighter. Then most of the time you really love being a firefighter. But that's it. And, in the military, it's turning around, obviously. They're definitely being more thanked, more appreciated by our country than our Vietnam vets. But still, we still have, a lot of people who don't believe in the military, and they don't believe in the police officers, and they don't believe in law enforcement at all, any capacity. And so we have a very thankless job, okay? And now you have heard me go on and on and on and discuss with you where the administrations could be better, where they are lacking. You have heard me talk about how there is a lack of support for first responders, military. You've heard me talk about this, okay? So before you get mad at the bomb that I'm about to drop on you, understand this. I know how you feel. I get your frustrations. I'm just as frustrated about it as you are. I think it's a bunch of bullshit. And I am actively trying to change that. But also, you have to ask yourself, when are you going to just enjoy your life? When are you just going to be happy? After all, nobody's holding a gun to your head saying that you have to stay in whatever job that you're in and you're completely miserable in. And I have got to say that to you because I've been there. I've been where you are. If you don't believe me, go back and listen to my podcast. Go back and listen to the beginning of this podcast. I was miserable as fuck, bitching about, being a police officer, telling you that I've spent many hours so mad at my cruiser I couldn't even talk to anybody, so frustrated that I would cry. Obviously not in public, but just so frustrated, so angry. I would spend a lot of my shifts trying to figure out how to make the agency better, trying to figure out, how to be happier on the job. And if my sergeant would do this, and if my coworkers would do this, and if the admin would do this, then everything would be good. But you guys, that is the wrong way to go about trying to figure out how to make you happy. It is the wrong way. Because you have zero control of anybody and anything else outside of you. Does that make sense? You have zero control of anybody or anything other than you. And I will tell you that being a first responder, being in the military, one thing that we tend to do is we tend to be type A personalities. And what comes along with being a type A personality is we love to control. We have a need to control. And we just do. That is just kind of in our nature. And I'm not going to make you wrong for it, but I want to make you aware of it. And so we tend to need to be in control of everything. And when we are not, we feel completely out of control. So if you have feelings of feeling completely out of control, completely unhappy, feeling targeted, feeling attacked, and I'm generalizing because there's always situations that are different. There are situations where you're being targeted within your workforce or whatever. But I'm generalizing. I'm making a general statement because if you're continuously feeling like this, if you're continuously miserable at your job, and you hate everything about your job, I need to ask you, and I'm very, very serious with you, why are you doing it? And I'm not asking you it to be a sarcastic asshole, but I just need to know, and I need you to recognize all the reasons why you are doing the job. Okay? Because you need to put your focus there. You need to start focusing on why you started the job, why you're in the job, and what you love about the job. Here's the deal, you guys, is it truly is, it's a perspective change. You got to change your perspective. If you want to be happy, then you've got to change your perspective. So what happens is we know what's going on. Look, we know about the bullshit. I know firsthand. You know firsthand. The bullshit is real. It's so real in the job, but it can if you're not careful, it will literally eat you up. The bullshit will eat you up. You don't have time for that. Okay? There's no reason why you need to let that happen to you. You either need to change your perspective, which I'm going to help you with in just a moment, or you need to get out of the job. Look, one of my favorite sayings ever is YOLO, because it's true. You only live one time. And being a police officer showed me that almost weekly. Sometimes it was daily on my shifts. I saw life, precious life, taken from people so quickly all the time and unexpectedly. It wasn't people on their deathbeds either. And as a first responder, you've seen it in every single capacity. You have seen it, you've dealt with it, you know it. But yet, why do we, as a culture, why are we so quick to get miserable and pissed off and be completely unhappy in our lives? Yet we know better than anybody. We know more than anybody how precious life is. But yet we're the ones who are so quick to get pissed off. Isn't that interesting? Wouldn't you say that's pretty interesting? I think it's interesting. So at the end of the day, you need to ask yourself, what is it that you're doing? Because if you're miserable or unhappy, and it doesn't matter whether this is your personal life, whether this is your job, and it doesn't matter what kind of job you're in, this goes for anybody, then you need to ask yourself what it is that you're trying to control. If you're trying to control everybody else, then obviously you're going to be miserable, because you are never going to succeed at controlling everybody else. You're never going to like succeed at that ever. Okay? But what you can do and how you can change that is you change your perspective. So you need to take that like control from and trying to, control everything on the outside. You need to spin it around, and you need to try to control everything on the inside. Okay? So you got to control the things on the inside. So what does that look like? Well, it looks like this. My fucking sergeant's a dickhead. He's a motherfucker. He's this, he's this, right? I used to have those thoughts. Of course. Who doesn't? Unless you got a really good supervisor. And then sometimes you still get pissed off at him. You know what I mean? That's the nature of the beast. But my supervisor, he's this, and this. Okay. So he is. Okay? So he is these things. And you have your reasons for why he is. But let's find, does that matter? Like, does it really, really, really matter, other than you want to prove this point of that you've been wronged and you're a victim and all these things? And no, it doesn't. It really doesn't matter in the big scheme of things, unless it is something. And again, I'm generalizing, and I'm going to just say this, unless it's a very specific kind of situation. You're being singled out, you're being harassed, you're being sexually harassed, you're being bullied, you're being whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a very specific situation. But generally, like, we get mad just because we don't like the decisions that they're making. We don't like how they act. We don't like a word that they said. We don't like their tone of voice. Whatever. We think they could be better. We think they could be more hands-on. We think they could be more hands-off. I mean, whatever it is, okay? But what can you control in this circumstance? So what is it? Because you can't control him or her. You cannot control your supervisor. What can you control? Numero uno. And that is it. So you have got to find a way. Okay, and this is going to be the work. This is the work. And you all are going to have to put your detective caps on. And you are going to have to find a way to be happy about one thing. Okay? Just one thing a day. If you can find one thing to be happy about a shift, it'll change your life. Every single shift, you can find one thing to be happy about and focus on there. Okay? So maybe he's all these things, but you know what? You get to, you get to run traffic until your heart's content, and you get to do interdiction work. You get to run traffic and write so many speeding tickets, and you love that because you love having high numbers. You get to, you get to just go call, and you love that because you get to deal with all these hot calls. You know what I'm saying? Like, you get to go do these details. Let's see, you get to be in the new cruiser. You get to, I don't know. I have no idea. It's going to be different for every single person. You know what I'm saying? But you've got to figure it out. I mean, maybe you've got a specialty. Or maybe you have yet to have a specialty. And maybe that's where your focus needs to be. Instead of focusing on what a dick your sergeant is, let's focus on you. You know what I'm saying? And again, like, this is all the baseline of how you how you can not lose yourself to the job. And that, my friends, is huge, because when you stop losing yourself to the job, you start finding yourself again and you start being happy. I just think that it is extremely important for people to start taking responsibility for their thoughts, for their actions, for their feelings, and for the emotions, and start being deliberate with your thoughts, being deliberate with what you think about, being deliberate with what you are going to appreciate today and every day, instead of always, instead of allowing other people and circumstances that you can't control to get under your skin. People will reach out to me and they're like, Autumn, I'm miserable. I got injured on the job. I'm miserable and you're not helping me. And I thought that you would help, but you're not helping. Well, I put out a ton of content. Okay. If I'm not doing a podcast, I've got Instagram TV videos, videos. I've got tons of content on my Instagram profile. You can go to my Facebook group. I got tons of content there. And then not only that, I run a program called the Intuitive Sheepdog, unbelievably affordable for all sheepdogs. All you would have to do is message me. So I have a ton of ways that you can be supported underneath me. But at the end of the day, it's not me not helping you. It's you not helping yourself. And you're getting, yet again, you're not taking responsibility for yourself, and you are not helping yourself. So, you have got to want to get help. Does that make sense? So you've got to want these changes that I'm telling you. You've got to want to do things a little bit different. You just do. And if you don't want that, and if you can't find that within yourself, I'm sorry. Work on that. Focus there. Focus on just starting there. Like, why don't I want to help myself? Why? Why am I feeling like this? And let's talk about that, and get real about that, and face the mirror. And like I always tell you about the accountability mirror, get in the mirror and be real with yourself. And listen, I just have to say this. No matter how hopeless you feel, how stuck you feel, how frustrated you feel, it's never as bad as you truly think it is. It just never is. It never fucking is. It never, ever, 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 ever is. It doesn't matter what you tell me. It does not matter. I will be empathetic to you, but I do not agree. I fully believe that you can 100% change your circumstances. Now, you're going to come at me and be like, Autumn, I've got a house, I got kids, I got all this debt, I got this and that. Yeah, and you can change your circumstances. There's 1,000 ways around it, but you just got to get creative. So many times we get tunnel vision in our lives. Tunnel vision. It's this way or it's that way, and that's it. I could take a left and I could take a right, and that is absolutely it. But you know what? What about spinning around and going back? You know what I'm saying? What about putting it in reverse? What about, instead of going left or going right, what about going straight and forging your own path? I am such a trailblazer. And so for me, it comes very natural to figure out different solutions. And when I come up upon a problem, I am never like, oh shit, well, that's it. That's it. I guess that's it. No, hell no. I do not solve my problems that way. I solve a problem with, it has to be damn, this is it. Yeah, this is it. This is cool. And I will stay focused on that problem until I find a solution that I'm happy with. And that's where I'm encouraging you to go. You are not stuck. No matter how hopeless you feel you are not stuck. If you need to get out of this line of work, then get out. If you need a new position, go get a new position. Don't sit here and go, well, no one's going to hire me, no one, this and that. Okay, well then guess what? You need to just take a step back. You need to, do some thinking, and then you need to recalibrate and then move forward, but maybe doing something else, or finding a different agency that has, is less, strict. I mean, there's certain agencies that are far more strict than others. I mean, it's all in how you look at it. It's your perspective. And I think that we, as Sheepdog Nation, our culture, I think that we get a very skewed perspective of things, and it's normal. You're normal. And that's the one last thing I'm going to leave you with is, if you felt these frustrations, this anger, the anxiety that I'm talking with you about, instead of sitting here beating yourself up, I want you to know how normal you truly are. You're so normal. I get DMs. You do not know how many DMs I get every day from officers, from military personnel, from first responders all across the world, because they listen to this podcast and they're like, I can really relate to you. I really feel this way. Like, I really feel this way. I can relate to you. All these things. And it's true. You know, it's true. Everybody feels this way. You don't have these new fucking thoughts. These thoughts of you not feeling good enough and you feeling hopeless and you feeling like you're stuck and feeling all these things. Like, that's not new. Everyone has those thoughts. It's just the people that find success in life are the ones who have worked through those thoughts. That's it. They retargeted, they recalibrated their mind, and you have to do it on purpose. It doesn't just happen. You're not just going to listen to this podcast, go to sleep, wake up, and be like, have a whole new mindset, a whole new train of thought. You're not. So be deliberate with your thoughts. Be deliberate with what you think about. Be deliberate with, everything that you do. And I'm telling you, it will change. It will absolutely change your life. If you have questions about this is what the program is all about. This is what the Intuitive Sheepdog program is all about. We dive into this stuff, and I would be more than happy to answer any questions that you have. But honestly, I hope that you listen to this podcast, and I hope that you go and you take some action. And, because what the hell? YOLO. You know what I'm saying, Sheepdog? YOLO. You only live once. So take some inspired action. Work on those thoughts. Take a step back and take a look at your life. And if you're truly unhappy in your job, then leave it. It is what it is. There's always another agency. I mean, agencies are hiring like crazy. If you're thinking about getting out of law enforcement, or you want to get into a different area within the criminal justice field, that's totally fine. Totally fine. But do it. And don't beat yourself up and don't make yourself wrong for it. I hope that this podcast was beneficial. Again, go check out our podcast sponsor at The Badge Life. You can go see, I've got a bunch of picture of me with the clothes on if you're curious about the clothes. I like it. I love their hats. They have an incognito hat that I like. They have a thin blue line hat that I like because, again, it's thin blue line, but it doesn't scream it, which is cool. Be paying attention if you are not on the wait list for the Intuitive Sheepdog program. When that opens up here in the next couple of weeks, you're going to want to get on it. You get on it by messaging me. If you are not on the email list, you're going to want to get on my email list. I send out a ton of really good content there. So it's just another way for you to be supported. And you do that by messaging me. And if you're not following me on Instagram, I don't know why the hell not. Come over and follow us at Intuitive Sheepdog. All right, Intuitive Sheepdogs. I will see you next time.